Hi guys! This week, some incredibly exciting news broke, the kind of news that I have been waiting for a very long time. Gilmore Girls is getting a reboot. Now, I think what is probably quite telling about this is that I was on holiday when this got announced. I was up north for a couple of days, and I woke up on Monday morning and checked my phone, and 2 people had already posted on my Facebook wall saying this is something that you'll want to see, and then other people were like, yeah, the minute I read this I was going to say Lindsay has to hear about this. So you can tell that everyone knows that I'm a Gilmore Girls fan. Hardcore Gilmore Girls fan. It is one of my favourite shows of all time. Lauren Graham's character of Lorelai Gilmore is like my spirit animal. She's one of my favourite characters. I love Rory too. I love everything about Stars Hollow and the wonderful little community that they have. And I just think that everything about the show, the sort of really strong female characters, the amazing friendships, the sort of very ordinary story. It's not a story that's full of like huge dramatic, twists and turns. It's not a fantasy show, it's not an action show, it's not, one of these things that's full of like, huge dramatic violent moments. It's a very chilled, low-key show about a mother and a daughter who are both kind of growing up because, Lorelai was only 16 when she had Rory, and they're both kind of growing up, figuring their lives out, figuring out what they want to do with their careers. Rory's going through school and university and, getting to grips with her kind of educational life and first romances and whatever, while Lorelai's trying to figure out her own love life. It's just a lovely, warm, the way I always describe it is comfort food TV type of show that you can just sit down and watch and just feel like you've been wrapped in this warm, cosy Stars Hollow blanket, and it's just fantastic. I wrote an essay at university actually about the ending of Gilmore Girls. I wrote in it that it was probably the most satisfactory ending to a TV show that I could imagine, and even at that it still was really upsetting that it was over, but for me I don't think that they could have ended it at a better time. What I kind of said in that essay, if I remember correctly, was that it felt like kind of an end of an era for both of our main characters. So Rory, we've been with her, we've had the privilege of kind of being with her through her high school and university / college experience, and she's come to the end of that and she's going off into the wider world. The first 3 seasons we witnessed her going through her high school experiences, and then in the next 4 seasons we saw her going through her college experiences, and then what would have maybe been the start of season 8 would have been her going off into her career, but we didn't get to go with her into that stage, and that was the end of our time with that character. And the same with Lorelai. For the first few seasons we saw her in the Independence Inn, and so she was, running that place. That was the place that she'd really found her feet and grown up and learned how to be an adult, really. And she'd been there for all that time, and then halfway through the show we see her and Suki sort of realise their dream of opening their own inn, and all of that coming together. And by the time that the show finished at the end of season 7, they were running this really successful business. They had people like Christiane Amanpour, Rory's hero, coming to stay at the inn, which really signified the fact that the inn was doing well. And again, we'd been with her up until that point, but that was the end of our time with the character. It didn't feel like we were kind of deprived of anything. Everything was sort of tied up in a nice way. Rory kind of left it on a note of being single. She'd been through the kind of 3 stages of like early relationships. She'd had that first sort of high school romance with Dean. She'd then had that kind of dipping her toe into the bad boy pond, which sounds weird, with Jess, and then she'd had the kind of slightly more mature adult relationship that she'd had with Logan, and then by the end of it she decided that she just wanted to be by herself. She wanted to focus on her career. Something that Rory had always been really, really strongly invested in was her future and her career and what she wanted to do, and so we leave her on that note. Then with Lorelai, we've seen again 3 kind of major relationships between her and Max. Loved Lorelai and Max, I really did. Then with Luke, who's the one that you just know she's supposed to be with, and then getting back with Christopher and realising that maybe wasn't the best thing to do. And by the end of it, again, she is on her own, but we get the feeling that there's real hope for her and Luke, which is what everybody wants. So the way it was tied up, I felt like they didn't leave any horrible loose ends. They didn't leave us on a huge cliffhanger that really distressed everyone. They just left it in a nice, not everything completely tied up. It wasn't like Lorelai and Luke ran off and got married and we suddenly saw Rory on TV as this reporter. They left it at a point that, it was just real life. There was possibilities that things could go either way, but you felt satisfied that you had enough time with those characters. However, I was never going to be ready to say goodbye to Lorelai Gilmore forever. So the fact that they are bringing the show back, the fact there's been such a call for this show to be brought back by so many people on the internet for years, I love that they finally listened and found it in their hearts to do a reboot. I also love that it's on Netflix because I love Netflix. And yeah, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about what I really hope that we're going to see in these 4 episodes. 4 episodes is not a lot, but I really hope that it's enough to do it justice. So I really hope that it doesn't feel rushed in any way. I feel like they need to just do what they've always done with Gilmore Girls, which is, in terms of dialogue, keep it really fast-paced and snappy and witty, but in terms of sort of maybe storyline, just keep it fairly chilled. So the first thing that obviously I think needs to be dealt with, and it's going to be really sad, is the fact that Edward Herrmann, who played Richard, passed away. And so obviously he's not going to be a part of it, and so, you know, I guess obviously all that they can do is have it that the same thing happened to Richard, and that's going to be really sad. But I think maybe dedicating this little mini series to him, or dedicating the first episode or something to him, I don't mean dedicating the entire storyline, I mean actually dedicating the episode to Edward Herrmann, I think would be quite nice, just to kind of, you know, mark the fact that he was such an important part of this show. So far, they have confirmed that Lauren Graham, Alexis Bledel, Scott Patterson and Kelly Bishop are all on board, which is great because, you know, those are probably the most integral people that we want. Lorelai and Rory and Luke and Emily, so it's great that we've got them all coming back. I don't think that they've confirmed anyone else yet, but I would really hope that Melissa McCarthy could find time to even do 1 episode. I think it's incredible how her career has just taken off, and she's such a great actress and she just seems like such a nice person, but I think they'd need a really good excuse as to why Suki wasn't there if she's not going to be there, and that's going to be weird. I mean, they couldn't ever have it that they fell out or anything, but I just always wanted the Dragonfly Inn to be successful forever. I don't really know why Suki wouldn't be there, but I hope that they find, if she doesn't have time, which she may not because she's a very busy lady these days, but if she doesn't have time to be in it, I hope that they find quite a believable explanation as to why Suki's not there. Other people I would love to see would be Paris. I'd love to see Paris. I want to know what she's doing now. I want to know what's happening in her life, if she has taken over the world as we suspected she might do. Lane as well. I want to see Lane and I want to see the baby, so I want to see how like her life has panned out up to this point. I really hope that even though Rory's been off travelling the world, that her and Lane are still as close as they always have been. Their friendship was such a lovely aspect of the show, and so I really hope that they bring that back in. In terms of Rory's love life, I guess it would be quite interesting to see what she's doing now if she's with someone completely different. I've seen a lot of people being like saying that they really hope that she's with Jess, and in some ways I guess I would like that. When Jess came back and he had written his book and, you know, he was very mature and whatever, that Jess, I guess it would be quite nice to see with Rory, but at the same time they did break up for a reason, and I don't necessarily know if Rory would go back there, but I guess that's something that we just have to wait and see. If not, I hope that she's with someone who it feels very believable for her to be with, and I feel like she'd be drawn to someone who has like a combination of the qualities of her 3 previous boyfriends, if that makes sense, because I feel like they all had a quality that you could see why Rory was drawn to them, but they also had sides to them that just meant that they weren't right for her. So Jess was, in terms of the sort of intellectual connection and the books that he read and the banter that they had that bond over that kind of the sort of creative intellectual side of things. But he wasn't reliable, he just wasn't reliable, and at the time that they were together he wasn't someone that she could trust or someone that she could rely on. Maybe that would have changed now, so yeah, we'll have to wait and see. With Logan, I feel like there was just always probably like quite a strong attraction in terms of they had sort of conflicting aspects of their personalities. And I think that was a double-edged sword kind of situation where it was a good thing but it was also a bad thing. And in terms of Dean was very sweet. He was a sweet guy, he was a nice guy, but it just wasn't there wasn't that sort of spark in terms of those debates and discussions she and Jess could have. That just wasn't there with Dean, and so I think it would be nice to see her with someone with a combination of their personalities, if that makes sense. All the good things about each of them combined. And in terms of Lorelai, I do kind of hope she and Luke got married, or if they didn't get married, just that they got together and that they got back together and that they're happy. I want Luke to still have the diner. I don't want there to be any kind of like, you know, big change, that he's, you know, changed jobs or anything. I feel like Stars Hollow still has to be Stars Hollow. It still has to have that feel to it that is so familiar and cozy and comforting, and that's what people, I think, were kind of drawn to about the show. And so I really hope that we have that element still all there. I hope we get a town meeting. I hope maybe even we get a sort of festival, or, you know, one of the kind of like town parties. I hope we get something like that, just to give us that nice nostalgia for the old days. So yeah, I cannot wait for these episodes. I have no clue when they have suggested that these are going to be made or aired, but I'm ridiculously excited anyway, even if it isn't for another 3 years. Just knowing that it's been confirmed is all I need to know for now. So if you're as excited as I am about the Gilmore Girls reboot, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what you're hoping to see in the episodes, if there's any particular friendships or relationships or storylines that you'd like to see brought back. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and we can sit and talk about Gilmore Girls in the comments all day. Maybe not all day, we have lives and work and responsibilities, but we could talk for a while. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and if you'd like to see more from me, don't forget to hit subscribe. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye! Now here it is in all its video VCR glory. That's what the tape looks like inside. Oh, look. Is that the beginning? Good, that shows that